What's going on, guys, and welcome to Who to Sign For. Now in this series I'm giving you my recommendations on what players to sign for a specific team in career mode. Before we go on, I will say that the signings you'll see aren't designed to be realistic, and I can't stress that enough, and that the player ratings and potentials of the players may vary depending on what database you're using and how they perform for you during the season. Obviously you don't have to follow the tips. This is really just a set of guidelines where you're stuck for ideas and wants for suggestions on what players you could sign for a certain club. This is mainly aimed at those of you out there who may be new to the game. I just need a little bit of advice, or for those of you out there who just want a few recommendations on what players to sign for a team that you may be using in career mode this year. So yes, in today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys, we're going to take a look at one of the richest clubs in the world and in the game, and one of the best clubs in the game as well. That's right, Paris Saint Germain, the French giants of Ligue 1, the 5-star team who have, I believe, the biggest budget in the game. They start off with around £120 million. With wage budget alteration, it's more likely to be around £130 million in your starting budget. But of course, what comes with being one of the best teams in the game, 5 stars, and one of the biggest, if not the biggest budget in the game, the biggest objectives and the hardest objectives. That's right, in the first season with Paris Saint Germain, you've got to win the treble, win the Ligue 1, win the Copa National, not Copa National, the Coupe de National, the French main cup, and also the Champions League as well. Now, of course, when you look at the team here, PSG line up in a 4-2-4. Again, it is a 5-star team, one of the very best teams in the game. The front four is absolutely unbelievable. Neymar on the left, Di Maria on the right as inside fours, and then up top, Kylian Mbappe and Mauro Icardi, of course, on loan from Inter Milan. It's an amazing side throughout. The defense is great. You've got Keylor Navas in goal. Alphonse Areola is on loan right now, but the defense is good. You've got Thiago Silva, the veteran Brazilian centre-half, as one part of your back line alongside Marquinhos as well, the 25-year-old centre-half. The midfield is decent too, with Idrissa Gueye and Marco Verratti as your starting central midfielders. It's a fantastic team. However, it could still be improved upon, and it could still get better as well. Now, £130 million in a budget too, that is easily doable in the first season. Now, as we know, PSG dominate French football basically every single season. No one can touch them as the kings of France right now in Ligue 1. So winning the league title in the first season, that is a mandatory requirement and an easy objective. Winning the Coupe National, that's a mandatory requirement and an easy objective as well. You see a few players on the deals coming at the end of the year here. I'd recommend giving 2 deals, one to Kouassi, the young centre-half, and also the young central midfielder, the 16-year-old central midfielder that's just 16 years old, but already 67 rated as well. Give these guys new deals, but personally speaking, I'd let everyone else go, and that includes Edinson Cavani and Thiago Silva as well. But yeah, it's a really good team. Again, dominating French football in real life. You should be able to do that in the first season as well. Continue the French football dominance with PSG. However, the Champions League, as we know, is the holy grail. That is the major trophy that the PSG board are so desperate for, but it continues to elude them. Can they get it in real life? Well, tonight, as we know, taking on Atalanta in the quarterfinals, but in the game, the board expect you to win it right from the very get-go. Now, there are 4 players I put on the transfer list. You've got Edinson Cavani, Eric Choupo-Moting, Meunier and Kurzawa as well. So 2 fullbacks and 2 strikers as well. Now, with Cavani and Thiago Silva, those are players that it's really up to you what you want to do with those 2 players there. They're both the deals that come at the end of the year. They're both in their 30s, but both really high rated. Thiago Silva is still 87 overall, and Cavani is 86 overall. Personally, since Thiago Silva has been there for 8 years, I'd let him have 1 more year of Paris Saint Germain, and then either give him an extension come the end of the year, or let him go on a free transfer. But in terms of new signings with Paris Saint Germain, I alluded to it a moment ago there. Despite having one of the best teams in the game, it still can be improved upon, and the area of improvement that I would look for with Paris Saint Germain is the full-back role, both left back and right back as well. Meunier with his deal that come the end of the year, I'll put him straight on the transfer list and put him looking for a better right back. And as for the left back role as well, whilst you've got Kurzawa, whilst you've got Juan Bernat who's 81 rated, I would recommend getting the best left back you can get in the game, and that's Andy Robertson of Liverpool. That's right, the Scottish left back, formerly of Hull City, 86 rated, 25 years old, high work rates, great pace, great defensive ability, and great on the offensive end as well. A much better player than Juan Bernat, 5 ratings higher and a year younger, and he also grows to 89 overall as well. So despite being 86 rated and one of the best left backs in the game, he still gets to 89 overall when it's all said and done. And with dynamic potential, there's no reason you can't get this guy into the 90s. He's in the prime of his career right now, and without question, whilst there are other great options you can bring in, Lucas Digne of Everton, Benjamin Mendy of Manchester City, Jose, Gaia, Grimaldo. There's loads of left-backs you can sign for the role, in my opinion, with PSG, because you have one of the biggest budgets in the game of around £130 million. Go all out for the very best. And in the left-back role, that is Andy Robertson. So Robertson was the first sign you made. You're going to pay around 65, 70 million pounds for the guy. And it is a lot of money. It's over half your starting transfer budget. But again, with PSG, you just need to get the best players here if you're to have the best possible chance of winning the treble and capturing that elusive Champions League trophy. And you go to Deadwood players as well, Choupo-Moting and also Kurzawa. Those guys have got to go. Thomas Meunier at 81 rated. He's 27 years old, so he's not going to decrease for another 3 years. You can keep him as a backup right back, but personally speaking, I would look to sell so you can afford the very best right back to partner Robertson on the other side. I just spoiled it there for you. You knew who it was going to be. Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's right. If you're going to get Robertson, you might as well get Trent as well. Bring the Liverpool boys from Merseyside to Paris and get them both in your side at the Parc des Princes. Now, Alexander-Arnold, like Robertson, starts off 85 rated. However, Trent is 5 years younger than the Scot, and you'll also pay a slight little bit less of money for him on average. We agreed a deal with Klopp of £64 million. You might spend a little bit more, around 67 to 70 million, but you can get Trent in the game for around 60 to 65 million pounds. We pay 64 million, and again at 85 rated, one of the best right backs in the game, and at just 20 years old, this guy is still a kid and has so many more years of progression before he starts hitting his peak and he's entering his prime. 64 mil is the fee we agreed for him. Again, 85 rated, so he's 4 ratings higher than Thomas Meunier, the Belgian, who we sold to Real Madrid, and he's also got 4 ratings higher, 5 years younger, and has 90 potential as well. That's right, he's got potential to be special, the high medium work rates, the bags of energy for days, the fantastic ball control, dribbling and crossing stats with a 4-star weak foot as well. Again, Robertson coming in, Trent Alexander-Arnold coming in as well. You've got the Liverpool fullbacks in your back four right now, and again, Bernat and Meunier, both 81 rated, both in their mid-20s. There's nothing wrong with them. But listen, PSG want the Champions League, man. If you're going to win the Champions League, you got to get the very best players at the Parc des Princes. We signed Alexander-Arnold and Robertson for 64 and 66 million combined, I think it was, and we sold Cavani, funnily enough, to Liverpool. They had so much money to play with, they thought, you signed 2 of our players, we'll sign one of yours. Sold to Cavani to Liverpool for 37.5 mil. And after we sold Layvin Kurzawa to Monaco for, I think it was 7.5 mil, the fee in the end, and it was Tylo Kehrer here as well. Ajax met a release clause for the German centre-half, but I delegated a renewal, so we ended up staying with us. But yeah, we sold Kurzawa to Monaco for 7.5 mil. After we did that, and we had the season ticket money coming in as well, we had just about enough money to bring in one final player with Paris Saint Germain. And whilst in the first season, I talked about it, really the areas of concern are just the fullback areas. You don't need to worry about any other position on the pitch. They've got so much depth in central midfield. They've got great depth in the centre-back role as well. Marquinhos, Kimpembe, and also Tylo Kehrer, who we kept hold of as well. Some really good young centre-halves there to replace the aging Thiago Silva. Once you've sold Edison Cavani, you'll want a backup striker for the bench to replace the Uruguayan, and these are the 2 players I'd recommend more than anyone else. Timo Werner of RB Leipzig, who, as we know, is on his way to Stamford Bridge, but in the game you can still sign him, and also Lautaro Martinez of Inter Milan as well. Now, Martinez is 21 years old, Werner is 23, so the German is 2 years older. However, he is 2 ratings higher than the South American. I tried to agree a deal with RB Leipzig and give them every single penny I had, plus a 25% sell-on clause as well. Unfortunately, RB Leipzig would not play ball for the German, but for Lautaro Martinez here, sometimes you get lucky with Martinez, sometimes you don't. Sometimes Inter just won't let him go as he's too important to the club. Other times they'll be willing to negotiate. In this save, they were willing to negotiate, and we agreed a deal of £55 million plus a 15% sell-on clause for the Argentine as well. Now, he is 2 ratings lower than Edison Cavani. That is true. However, he's more than a decade younger than the Uruguayan, and his wages are cheaper, and despite being 2 ratings lower, he's got a far higher ceiling. Cavani is going to start decreasing in attributes right from the very get-go in your PSG career mode, whereas Martinez, at just 21 years old, the only way is up. So look at it this way, you're only taking a -2 decrease in the overall, but Martinez, with potential to be special, has 90 potential, and again with dynamic potential, can become the best striker in the world in the early to mid-90s for his rating as well. There's a very little decrease in ability comparability between him and Edison Cavani. And again, he's the far younger player, 10 years younger, with 90 potential as well. It just makes sense to replace the aging Uruguayan with the young Argentine, and you've got a really good striker for the future to partner Kylian Mbappe once Mauro Icardi goes back to Inter Milan from his 1-year loan spell. The final signing I made with PSG was just because I had a little bit of money left over. You might have a bit of cash left over, you might not, but we had about £7 million left over, so I just brought in one squad player here. You'll notice there's not much depth in the winger area with Paris Saint Germain. They've got a couple of players out on loan right now, including Jesse Rodriguez at Sporting Lisbon, but really you might just want a young talent for the future. I signed Jeremy Doku of Anderlecht, a really good young talent with 87 potential, but in the end, as you can see, the main transfers here, selling those 4 players for 65.75 mil and signing 3 players for a whopping £189 million. When you look at the players coming in though, Martinez, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson and Doku as well. Doku being 17, the others being in their early to mid-20s as well. And again, the 2 new fullbacks from Liverpool coming in, Trent on the right, Robertson on the left, 2 of the best fullbacks slash wingbacks in the game. Perfect for Paris Saint-Germain's 4-2-4 system with bags of energy, high attacking work rates and great stats both when going forward and when defending on the back as well. Martinez coming in for a younger replacement for Edison Cavani for the long term, and again in the future he will be your starting striker alongside Kylian Mbappe. Despite spending a lot of money and having a net loss of 123.25 million, we still made the team better and younger and give it a better chance to win the treble. The question is, can we do that though after just one season? Well, as you could see, we did indeed win Ligue 1. Shock horror, no surprises there. Paris Saint-Germain always win Ligue 1 in career mode. We didn't even need to make the signings to win Ligue 1. PSG and FIFA career mode will always win the French league time after time, season after season. Won it by 6 points. Lyon pushed us every step of the way. We were still crowned champions with 34 wins in 38 games, 105 points, and only the 1 defeat all season long. So a dominant French football campaign for PSG, because we didn't just win the league, but we also won the French equivalent of the Community Shield at the start of the season. We didn't just win that, we won the Coupe de la Ligue as well, beating Marseille by 5-1. We didn't just win that, we won the Coupe Nationale as well. So a clean sweep in France, 4 trophies out of 4, dominating French football as you would expect. But the real question is, do we win the Champions League? Yes, we did, by a 3-2 scoreline, beating Liverpool, funnily enough, in the final in a 5-goal thriller. And that just goes to show you the importance of those fullbacks. We signed them from Liverpool, Trent and Robertson coming in, and they helped us beat their former team in a 5-goal thriller in the Champions League final. So we beat the holders, we dethroned them, we finally win the Champions League, and a clean sweep for Paris Saint-Germain. I think this is the first Who to Sign For episode I've done in the entire FIFA year, where we've won every single trophy possibly available. 5 out of 5 for Paris Saint-Germain, and finally that ever elusive Champions League trophy was in the cabinet after a 5-goal thriller. So yeah, in the end, as you can see here, we go through the squad. Robertson growing our rating to 87 overall, 7 goals and 5 assists in 35 Ligue 1 games for Paris Saint-Germain. Some very nice technical stat improvements there as well. Robertson, such a fantastic player, and again with 89 potential, he still has more room to grow. Trent Alexander-Arnold in the first season as well, growing 2 ratings to 87 rated himself, 7 goals and 9 assists in Ligue 1 in 37 games. I love the improvements physically of Alexander-Arnold in the first season there, growing ratings in every single physical attribute. So great to see our young fullbacks coming in and playing so well in the very first season. And as for Jeremy Doku, didn't play a single game but still grew 3 ratings to 72 overall. He's the sort of player that will just grow quietly in the background and eventually be good enough to replace either Di Maria or Neymar. But as for Lautaro Martinez, 14 goals in 30 games in Ligue 1, 21 in 47 in total. And again, like I discussed earlier, despite being 2 ratings lower than Cavani, in the first season he'll grow to be a better player than the Uruguayan. The Uruguayan will start decreasing in the very first season as he's now in his 30s, whereas Lautaro Martinez grew 2 ratings to 86 overall. At this point, I believe Cavani went down to 85 overall, so Martinez after just 1 season is better than the Uruguayan and far younger at just 22 years old as well. But again, one of the biggest budgets in the game and a 5-star team to begin with. It's a really fun team if you're looking for a quick career mode with Paris Saint-Germain. It's trying to challenge yourself, do it all in one season like we did, and those would be my tips there. Improve the fullback area and bring in a better backup striker to replace Cavani with as well. That was today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys. So big thank you for watching if you have enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy today's episode, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Who to Sign For very soon.